What we have here is a disaster waiting to happen. Big mountains off in the distance and no one to keep guard. All sorts of mischief can happen. People unchecked and undisciplined and off doing their own thing. Can't have that. People can't be trusted to do their own thing without causing trouble. That's how the world turned out to shit. Straight off. Too many people off doing their own thing and not being responsible citizens, and that's why they get what they deserve when they're caught doing something they shouldn't be. What was once called Arizona is now a big sheet of glass and radiation. Some damn fool made a fortune swindling people out of their hard-gotten government checks and used that money to build a sovereign state in the middle of the desert. Sure as shit, you know how the hell that turned out. Damned revolution didn't even have a capital or a declaration before the big G got wind and surrounded the state. There were arguments and debates and all that lovely government dancing, till someone got up and did the dirty deed. One airplane and one big package and boom. It's a shame how it turned out. All the innocent people who got fried because some damned fool's avarice. Damned fool. And that's the only thing I can say about him. Damned fool. Can't say his real name, can't even think his name, or else the big G will know about it. And then I'm in real trouble. I'm in deep enough shit as it is, so making it worse won't really dig me any deeper. At some point, being a condemned man, you're best if they make it as quick and painless as possible. Mess around and keep up with the behavior, and they'll make it slow and painful. I'd like the last of my days not to be bloody and agonizing. I'd like to not end it all tied to a chair and half beaten to death. I'd like to keep all my fingers and toes. This is David Danny. Danny is short for Daniel, obviously. I just like the sound of David Danny. Davy Dan. Whatever. It's the 10th of August, 2098. I've been convicted by an audience of my peers. Crimes against the state? Nope. I've been a card-carrying member of the ruling party and devoted as much as such since I could stop peeing my pants. Devoted to the core. But I pissed someone off enough that I was charged and convicted. Just wish I knew what the fucking charge was. Don't matter. Didn't matter when I was arrested. Didn't matter when the prosecutor rattled off a bunch of nonsense. Whatever it was, it got the live audience riled up enough that they booed the defense. It was all show. The people loved it. I didn't so much. I rather like living, even if it's as a state-sanctioned lackey living my days on the bare minimum. I'm the 1,000,000%er because it takes me 1,000,000 years to get anything done. Need a new faucet in my apartment? 30 permits and 20 fees, and then wait for work to be done. Want a new coat? Because my old one had holes? Needed permissions and permits and trade requests. And by the time spring comes along, it'll be too warm out for a coat. Or one or two of the applications for permits would have a letter smudged or a number out of place, and the process had to start from scratch. And I was happy with that. Satisfied, really. Eventually, I got what I needed. Then I pissed someone off, and now I'm here, in the desert mountains, waiting to find out my fate. I say finding out my fate because if I was going to be executed, it would have been done by now. Why the hell they drive me halfway across the country just to waste a bullet? Waste a bullet? The little bastards are expensive. Not that they are hard to come by. The government had enough munitions to make a whole new moon out of them, not including the satellites or the nukes. And the nukes aren't really anything to write home about, unless, well, it's espionage. Even then, that's a waste of time because most of the global adversaries were just political jocks flexing. Jocks with an STD. And you know what that is? Super tiny dick. Floppy bastards running the armies just pose and posture. The nukes are about as emasculated as can be, more like pawns and pieces on a chessboard to pretend to be anything bold and bad. I should know that because it was part of my job. It was the deal in Arizona that caused everyone to rethink the nukes. Over 150 years since a nuclear weapon was used in anger and on domestic soil, the powers that nuked Arizona set to rethink nuclear, period. Of course, some things happen in the world not related to nukes or bullets, and bodies start filling bags as quickly as bags come off the assembly line. The whole world comes apart, and Arizona was forgotten. Not quite sure when that started. The starving, the riots, the droves of people roaming the streets, the cities falling apart. I was never part of that. I got a job with the big G and survived the best I could. Even the bum living in an alley gutter a ways from the building I lived in. Was questioned in my office at work about it. I just shrugged my shoulders. He was threatening me with a piece of broken glass. He had me cornered. I did what was necessary. That was as far as it went. The big G knows all about doing what was necessary. As you've noticed, I'm a bit all over the place, rambling. They're recording my thoughts. Since I'm certain I'm dead, it doesn't matter what I think, so they can just go to hell. There it is, bolted to the underside of the roof of the van. Here I am, cuffed, in the back of this rattling steel box. I can feel the engine rattle through the floor I sit on. As I lean back against the side of the van, I look up at the thought reader. In most places, these little boxes are impossible to figure from everything else in the environment. Street lights and street cameras, and cash registers and product displays and walls and decorative plants. There was every way these readers could be hidden. It looks like a radio, with 2 dials and some antenna, and a small display screen. There are infinite variations on this because the actual functioning parts were hardly the size of a wristwatch. In the back of my mind is a little chip, a receiver and transmitter wired to collect my thoughts and decode them to a remote recorder. Not the transmitter, receiver, recorder, or the fact that all could be so easily hidden was as important as the wiring which allowed it all to work. Another accidental invention. Growing wire. A little seed, little more than the size of a red blood cell, is planted just under the skin. This seed is faceted, each flat surface provided for as a root to the wire. From that seed, the seed itself draws iron from the bloodstream and grows that wire under the skin. My understanding of the details which make it work are limited to being just an ignorant government official. I saw some of the initial plans for the mind reader's 30-year-old research papers which explained it just beyond my comprehension. The thought transmitter was mandated when I was a boy, for every citizen. This was decided after Arizona.